The String Ninjas Podcast.
Come get some. Don't have time to play with myself.
Take it easy. We're the good guys.
Hail to the king, baby.
The String Ninjas Podcast.
You guys got
It is like a finger pointing away to the moon.
Wrong angle.
And then you come.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the String Ninjas Podcast. I am the artist formerly known as Gavin Ferris. This is the artist formerly known as Mick Conlon. And we have with us today the wonderful chef proprietor of the Barking Dog Belfast, Mr. Michael O'Connor.
What's happening?
Breaking him in gently on
Gently.
his podcast virginity
Yes,
today.
I know.
Brace yourself,
Easy,
chef.
boys, easy.
We're coming in dry.
A dry rub.
So, introductions. This man was my employer once upon a time. And I call him an enabler of the String Ninjas.
An incubator.
Yeah.
Incubator.
Yeah, we've said that we've reserved that there's about 3 or 4 people that we can say are incubators, the String
Yes.
Ninjas. So there's you, Davey from the John Hewitt, Rwanda, Shaw. Cause
Yeah, not the country.
Rwanda, the country of Rwanda, helped
Yeah.
us. Lovely coffee. And,
It's legit. Shit established.
I was thinking there probably Lee Cutler as well. He'd probably give us a good old helping hand.
Good old general manager of
with the-
Forsyth, yeah.
When was that? That was your dad's birthday, wasn't it?
Aye. Oh, by the way, I should mention this. He's told this story about 3 times in the last week. You keep saying Mick's dad's 60th birthday, Mick's dad's 60th birthday. It was actually 65th.
Oh, right,
But
okay.
if my dad ever hears this, he'd be like, cheers.
Fair.
Talk
Well,
about, how's Frankie getting a couple of years tucked off him?
You don't look a day over 60. Yeah.
Aye, so there you go. Yeah. My dad's 65th. We jammed. Yeah.
We made some jam
We made some jams and
upstairs in
marmalades
the Barking
we
Dog.
did,
I
alright.
see, and that's with the funny because it was Nick hired me to play up there. Do you remember
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
Sundays?
Yes, the Sunday
And I
nights.
used to sit there and I got my burger and I
Oh,
tinkled
you
in the
loved
corner.
it, and a burger on a Sunday night. Can't go
Give it
wrong.
in, but was it the horseradish mayo? Was it?
What?
I love it when it stings the back of your throat.
I'm surprised there's no food in front of us.
I know, actually, I actually feel bad. Actually bringing some goodies
What's
for
the
you
word?
boys.
Charcuterie?
Yeah, I know.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie, aye.
We should have like a wee demo on. Before I worked in the dog, and then soon after I started there, the chef used to do like those cooking demos,
Yeah.
which is basically
Oh, burn down the dog.
literally that's what it was called, burning the dog. But like you'd have the tables upstairs set up as I think it's called boardroom style, where it's like a U and
Oh,
then
yeah,
it'd be
yeah,
in the
yeah.
middle. Cooking, and it was like people drinking cocktails, and then like he'd be doing like pork belly bites and the burger and showing people how to make it and stuff. I miss those days.
They were good nights.
Good
They were
times.
good. People really enjoyed it. We actually have Mr. Smart, who was at every single one.
Oh, the old boy.
Is we Dick Epo.
Oh,
His wife
lovely.
used to wear our big long gloves and all up here. Every single time. Every time I was using olive oil, he'd be like, "Is it Greek olive oil?" And we'd be going, "No, it's brighter gold olive oil."
Is it rapeseed? Is that what it is? Yeah.
And I should forewarn everybody, the only reason that he's agreed to be on this podcast is because he can swear.
I know.
Do you remember? I remember one time we were
Sorry.
Don't fuck. If you're apologising, what
Yeah.
the hell do we have to say?
when the Barking Dog won the best burger in Belfast competition years ago, and we'll get onto the burger in a minute.
Deservedly so.
But whenever we won, I say we won. I was just there. taking
No, Mick
pictures.
was there.
He's the judge. It was all
Mick
rigged.
had an apron on at one stage, so he did.
No, but whenever the dog won, I says to him, right, because we're in front of a room load of people, and I was like, don't swear, just be gracious, don't swear. He
Fucking slap it up,
He
yes.
went up, took the microphone, went, I'm fucking delighted, folks. This is fucking brilliant. So it is.
That's a genuine reaction. But
Oh.
we see if you see people and you know their hosts falling out of them with excitement, and they're like, "Well, I just like to thank you." You're like, "No.
just
You
so-
want to go up and shove burgers in people's faces? Fuck you! I won. Fuck you! I won."
The local press are there, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I won. Jesus Christ.
I
'Cause
fucking read that article. Like.
No, yeah, to be fair, but it's I said to him, I said, this is technically an adult podcast.
Oh,
so
no.
there will be the
Technically an adult podcast.
technically, as in we're legally we are adults.
Yeah.
Mentally, we're fucking
No,
definitely not.
That's why I like
Every
it.
time after that, I was doing interviews going, remember, don't watch your P's and Q's. Don't curse and don't do an interview for the radio or doing something like, don't.
Because it's really funny when we do interviews. He's the very professional one. We did one recently for UTV, and I just let him take the lead. But then they go Gavin, blah blah blah, and then he'd reply, and then eventually it was like, and Mick, and I was like, oh, your mouth gets very dry.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
like,
hard.
you-
It's really
you
hard
trip
not.
over your
It's
tongue,
really hard not to curse. Like I curse a lot. I'm chef. And
Yeah.
it's terrible. But
Yeah.
see when you're like, you're you enough build yourself up, so you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do? And this is a genuine thing. I pretend I'm Niles Crane from Frasier, because he has that soft demeanor and that. So you have to literally leave yourself at the door because you go like, I'm here. Did you see the fucking blah blah blah? You have to be like, yes, yeah. You know, like you have to really like as if you're talking to a posh cunt.
But the funny thing is what you look like, and then that voice comes out. You're like,
Hello, sir.
It's very, you know.
I said I did that thing
It's disconcerting.
for children in need, and it was like the mother-in-law. She worked, and it was like kids chucked out of school and all, and not pathways. I can't even remember the name of it, but they get like their anniversary, and they did it over in Stormont. And I was up, and I was talking to the fellow I was playing with at the time, Matthew, and we were chatting away like we would do because we're not singing or anything, so you can talk
Yeah.
away. And he's like, fucking this, that, and the other, and that food over there looks fucking great and all.
Use on the microphone.
No.
I was gonna say, lay
But then
over.
people came, like these two like representatives come over from like children in need, and I'm like mid sentence going fucking cunt to him, and then I see them and I'm like, how do you do? All right, oh, it's lovely and all this here, and he's like, you can see him going like, the fuck just happened there? He's like, there's a switch in you that you just able to.
I'm
just,
terrible. See when I place orders at night, I put a voice on. People go,
That's not
you're from the West, and then hello, it's Michael here, barking dog.
You've been on the Malone Road too fucking long.
Yes.
It's so funny because like I'd be, cause for anyone who doesn't know, I used to be a manager up in the restaurant, so like I'd maybe be sitting at the end of the night like doing a till or something like that there, or doing something on the computer, and then he sat next to me doing the orders, and he's like, I was going, hi, it's Michael, barking dog, I'd like to order, and then he goes, fucking cunts never answer their fucking phone. Fucking hate the answer machine.
But it comes from working in
It's like-
London, and my accent in London, people are like, what's he saying?
Yeah. I got that in Edinburgh, where I went to Edinburgh, and the guy doing my sound, I was like, so mate, I want a lot of bass, I'm trying to, and he's like, man, I can't understand.
No.
This guy with a super thick Glaswegian accent was like fucking talk, like I couldn't barely understand him, and he's like, you need to slow down.
I sacked the waitress one night in a restaurant I run in London, a pub, and she went out to the manager and went, he's in there screaming at me. I don't know what for. The manager came in and went, what happened there? I went, she needs to leave. She needs to fucking go away. And he's like, yeah, do you want to take a night off and come back tomorrow and speak to us? And the wee girl's like, I haven't got a clue what he said to me.
It may be the Muslim call to prayer. I can't tell.
He's like in The Simpsons where Apu burns himself with the coffee, and he wraps a cold towel around his head, and the Canadian border people are thinking he's like shouting at jihad because he's partying. He's like, wah, wah.
Anyway, so London. Who was? You worked for Mark Pierre White in London, didn't you?
Yeah, so did a couple of years Balmoral, did Balmoral Hotel, and then did the other place in Lisbon Road. But me and Brian McCann from Shoe used to read White Heat religiously.
White Heat. That sounds like
it's
a Dubai porn mag.
It's the Bible of cooking. It's what Marco's first ever book, and one of the first things is that don't buy this book. What's it quote? Don't buy this book if you think you want to learn how to cook. Go buy a frying pan. But Brian went over to London to work, and then he come across Mirabel, and he phoned me. I was only back from Portugal on my 21st birthday, and he says, here, big lad, I'm at Marco's. And I went, no, you're not, you're landing me. And he goes, no, I am, and there's a job for you. So I went, fuck, still coming down of my fucking 2-week holiday. And I was like, right. Went spoke to my mum, spoke to my stepdad, and then spoke to a couple of old head chefs. They're like, go for it. But there's a chef called Stevie, and he's a sous chef, and he worked in Dublin, in Mid-Star restaurants. He goes, kid, see if you go to London for 2 weeks, 2 months or 2 years, you're going to learn something. He says, go do it. So on the flight I went and worked for Marco. First day was just like, I haven't got a clue about half of this
the
stuff.
deep end, like.
I haven't got a clue about half of the stuff was in front of me. I was going, I don't know what I'm like, what is
Cauliflower can be purple. What?
Bubble and squeak. What is that? You know what I mean? And bird blunk, and you were on just 21 and cooked in sort of decent sort of hotels and stuff like that. But London was just a different breed.
I suppose it's like anywhere in comparison to here. I suppose because no way now here in this year or this last 10 years, Belfast has become a real food metropolis. So back then there was nothing.
Especially the last 5 years. You know what I mean? When I first opened up Barking Dogs, 12 years ago. I mean, there was also more seafood, and Michael Deems obviously still doing stuff, and then you've got Gareths of the world and the Stevie Tomans of the world and the Mothers, and then you have obviously Marty Murphy and stuff like that coming through. So our food scene right now is probably
That's huge. It's
good.
But like even back then, like for you working in hotels here at that time, there was nothing really.
No,
and then to go to
everything
London, it's like
everything was doing.
you could have went to fucking Iran and been like, fucking, they've actually food here.
Yeah,
you know?
everything was doing a steamer, a Bomberies, you know what I mean? But back in the day, but now it's all laying cooking and cook to order and stuff like that. So and the produce we have here, some of the produce we have here is unbelievable. You know what I mean? Just like I mentioned, Brighter Gold, their olive oil just beats every other one on the market. That's my opinion anyway.
Are they? Is that you mean like stuff grown here? Because I suppose all the technology's caught up. We'll have the ground for it, but just didn't have the fucking weather for half the stuff.
I think it was Dexter. When I first got back from London, it was Dexter beef. It was really massive, and everybody was using it. Danny Miller was on Great British Menu using that, Dexter beef and all, and it just got absolute mental. And obviously Peter Hannon doing his salt age stuff, and then everybody's trying to do a salt age room and stuff like that. But our food over here is amazing.
And I always seem to be, because that's one thing, because I've been out of the hospitality trade for about 5 years now, and even whenever I had started, because I worked in bars, I never worked in a restaurant until I worked in Belfast, and that was my first, like, you're saying, like, going to London, that was my equivalent to going to fucking London. I was going, are they fucking, like, what are you...
Sourdough?
What the fuck is all this food, you know? I didn't know prawns could be that size. I thought they were really fucking dinky things, like, but even then...
Mary Rose cocktail.
I thought it was going to come out in a thing of red sauce. What the fuck is this here? But even then, there was the big buzz, because I think, like, Ox and stuff was opening up.
Yeah.
And they got their Michelin star and everything, and then fucking, like, everything was going fucking nuts for it.
Belfast got a fucking rude awakening, like, when a couple of those
We can all
restaurants
eat, but we can't drink. We're not allowed to drink late at night.
Do you know, actually, going back to Marco, I always remember a story you told me about the first time you met him properly when he called you into the office.
Oh! It's this one
While you were dressed.
The guy that I was called me in the office. And I was going, "Fuck, has he caught me doing something on camera? Shouldn't have done." So my head,
Probably.
The head
pee
chef
in the soup.
The head chef Charlie was sitting there. Mark was sitting there with his newspaper, and he goes, "Son, are you a clown?" And I goes, "I look at him," and Charlie's sniggering, and I goes, "What the fuck have I done? Has he caught me?" Because he got cameras about, and I think I did nothing today. Being buried, no. Chef, I don't understand. I'm really sorry, but I don't understand. You look like a clown, son. And I went, yes, sorry. So I have a pair of black and white trousers on, like Guy Rhodes, and he didn't like Guy Rhodes. So he goes, you look like a clown. So I said, Chef, really apology. Only started 2 weeks ago. Once I get my wages, I'll go down to Danny's and get proper uniforms, no black gear, pair of shoes, because they weren't a pair of Nike Air Max or something like that. West Belfast, Nike Air Max,
Get your
21.
Crocs. You need to get your Crocs on.
You hear the 5-0. How'd it go?
So he goes, listen, here's my Danny's card. He goes, go out and get proper uniform in your break later on. So he handed me his Danny's card. It's like a credit card for Danny's. Danny's a chef shop in Soho. So down I got a couple of pair of black bottoms and a proper pair of shoes, you know what I mean? Back up. So he says, take me the wages. And so at the end of the month, it's not talking about wages. So and the head chef Charlie goes, Charlie, what's going on? He goes, don't worry about it, don't ask about it. If he comes out and says something to you, you might say something, but he says, just keep your head down and get on with it, you know what I mean? I was like, but I tell you what, see when he called me in that office, I was like,
I always hate those situations, because you're like, have I done something? Even though you fucking haven't, it's like, see when I'm out running, and I see the cops, it's just this inherent thing where I'm like, they're looking at me running, and they're going, he's running away, he's done something, and I'm like, and then I slow down, I'm like, stare at them, like, oh, please don't fucking get out of the car.
It wasn't until later on in the month that I found out why he called me in the office for. They were doing a photo shoot in Mirabel for stuffing, and they took a picture of my legs, and that's what it was. It was the checker thing in the Nike Air Max, and that's why I got mental for.
Oh, right, there you go.
I didn't find out for a couple months later, and Timmy Payne, the executive head check, and I went, that's why, because you're wearing them silly things.
But the thing is, the old check bottoms was a big thing.
My sister bought me them too. My sister Sharon bought me them. It was one of my first ever weights I'd ever bought, because I got ones at a college, and the wee small blue ones, and she bought me the big black checker ones with the black aprons. Years ago, they were 4-sided, so you flip the over, it was 30.
It's funny, like, because there's another Marco story that I really, really love. But it's like, nowadays people think of chefs as that fuckwit Ramsay, but you're like, that isn't that, because you know Ramsay, that's not really him.
But is he a good chef? Because anytime,
Ramsay?
Because I think most of the people that see him, it's a team behind him, and no like that kitchen hell and fucking all that sort of stuff.
When I was in London, he had aubergine and just off Fulham Road. Even he had a 1-star, and he was trying to go for his 2-star, and then they did that boiling point. You know what I mean? And where he was trying to go for his 2-star, and then he had obviously Marcus Waring doing stuff, and then he produced and stuff like that, and then he just went mental. You know what I mean? His team, Angela Hart and all that that was a big team. That the team at Aubergine are all Michelin star chefs.
Because I've always got the impression that like he might know about food, but it's not him doing the most of the legwork.
No, he worked for Marco for years, and he did France. You know what I mean as well. Gordon is a real deal. Unfortunately, he's a fucking.
He hates Jamie Oliver, like no, but
I always he doesn't like he hates Jamie.
But obviously, it's that whole like it's like we've been talking to people recently who have been like reality TV talent shows and things like that there, and you're obviously very aware of the production aspect of it and how things are edited to make people look a certain way.
Yeah.
But that's the way he is. You can't edit out that much screaming. Like.
But like I know stories about Marco. I've known people who have worked front of house for Marco who have told me stories, and I'm like a fucking fur coat over a four ring gas burner for a woman who wouldn't pay her bill.
Yeah.
And he went,
There you go.
you can pay the bill or the fucking coat gets it, you cunt. But it was the one you told me you had to come in like really
early in the
prepping.
morning. I was in the shits, I was on larder, and I had to come early in the morning and just fucking pot of coffee was through on, was a bit of milk and Nescafe through into it. Stuck a radio on to try and wake myself up, and all I hear is radio fucking stood against the wall, and I looked up and there's Marco. What are you doing in here? And I'm like, Charlie, give me the keys, give me in there early. Like I'm talking like 6:30 in the morning. I was in the kitchen, and he's like, what's wrong? And he goes, I'm in the shits, and I need to do this for lunch, I need to do that for lunch. He goes, why are you using the shits for? And I went, because one of the chefs behind me didn't do the prep my day off. So he fucking rolls up my sleeve, starts giving me a hand. But all the boys are walking through the kitchen. Fucking, there's Marco, fucking starting prepping away at the back of the kitchen. They're all like,
Daddy's home.
Well, actually, Marco just takes over. I think he took over the Ballantines from me because I had to make Ballantines of Vauxhall trains. So I'm doing the Vauxhall trains. He's prepped the Ballantines and rolling them. All the boys are like, what's going on there? And the head chef walks in. We're all in there from like 7 in the morning, 7:30. The head chef walks in about 10 o'clock and goes, hey, you had a wee visit this morning? And he goes, oh, chef, I'm going to shit myself. Like he's standing there, Mark was looking, what are you doing in my kitchen? And I'm like,
Do I not work here? I thought I worked here.
But no, as much as he was, he's a big lad. Like, I mean, he's big hands, big lad. I remember one time as well, there's a wee French girl working for us, and he walked through the kitchen with a cigar, and she's like, excuse you, man, you cannot smoke the cigarette. And he's like, Charlie, tell her to get her knives. The head chef walked up and went, what are you doing? He goes, that's the man smoking in the kitchen. He goes, you know who that man is? And she goes, I don't care, he's smoking in the kitchen. He goes, that's your boss. And the waiter's like,
It's one of those type of moves that the boss you go like, I like the cut of your jib, or like, get the fuck out of here right now. You know what I mean?
Like I know there's loads of Marco stories that we cannot tell on this camera.
But if you want to hear them, you just need to pay a bit more.
He's like the Jimi Hendrix of chefs. Like he was a wild man, wasn't he?
You know what? I watched him on League Your Own there a couple of weeks ago, and they were doing cooking with Freddie Flintoff and that, and he just gets the scrambled eggs and goes, take it away.
Just bend that shit now.
But he's a beast of a man, like, absolute.
It surprised me whenever there's a Marco chain of restaurants, and
Yeah.
I'm like, has he just sold out now? Then
Well, what did he do? He went from, obviously, Oakroom and Mirabelle and...
sorry, by the way, Marco, if you're watching.
Oh no, Marco, sorry.
He's done all right for himself.
And then he sort of... It just one chain, like that's where the money is. Look, that's where Gordon's doing. Gordon's doing. What's he doing? Running about opening pizza restaurants now and burger restaurants all over London. You know what I mean?
Remember at Jamie Oliver place we ate him? Well, I ate him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't eat because you were like, I'm not eating here. And then my food came down. And I went, is it any fucking wonder he's bankrupt?
Was that the place in the Gatwick?
Aye.
That time? That was terrible. We thought, Rob, we're meant to stop off at Yo Sushi
That's
before we
what it
dog
was,
check, because at Gatwick, Yo Sushi's really good, big and massive and busy. And we got the wrong terminal book, so we ended up having to go to Jamie Oliver's, and these halloumi fries came out, and I swore they were like
Deconstructed halloumi fries.
they were
basically.
like rubber bullets. I mean, and we were like, but they were charging one thing. They were charging like $7.50.
I was like,
But that's what happens when you because I think a lot of chefs here, they are personally involved in each of their restaurants are individual. They're not part of a conglomerate type of thing. So there's a little bit of a touch. But I think when you're doing when your name's that big and you're just like, I sign my name to anything.
You need to be careful. It's fucking Mr. Rankin. You know what I mean? He was 3-4 restaurants, and then he started getting the bread, and then he was up at the airport, and then it all sort of fizzled. Not fizzled out, but I want a bit Pete Tong. So when you sort of go from 1 to 2 to 3, you really need to be sort of had to be on the ball. I mean, it's
I remember
24
serving
day.
him once. It was served right. He came in the dog one time for brunch on a Sunday, and he ordered was it eggs Florentine or was it the Bennett? I can't remember what it was, but it was something involving toast.
Yeah.
And I brought it down to him, and he looked at the fucking toast, and he went, "Is there butter on?" And I could see there was butter on the toast, and he's like, "Is there butter on this bread?" And I was like, "If you have to ask me that question, is it any fucking wonder you lost your Michelin stars?"
What does butter look like?
No, but it's funny. I remember reading about this Michelin star chef in London. I can't remember. Maybe it was Paris actually, and he committed suicide because he.
That was Paris. He lost his rosettes.
It's the stress on you. It's hard. It's like that whole thing of like it's hard to become a champion. It's harder to stay as one.
Oh yeah. There's always
like,
somebody vying for your title.
But when you get that Michelin star, it's like you can't just rest on your laurels.
Aye.
When you losing it is it's more heartbreaking to lose one than to never get one.
Aye.
Like we got a Michelin star at Mirabelle, but food maybe wasn't Michelin star, like all fancy stuff like that. I think Mirabelle got a star because it was always consistently good. Plus it was big numbers.
Yeah.
I think the way they do the Michelin star though, because it's all secretive, isn't it? They don't like tell you we're coming in to fucking grade your restaurant. It's like
I don't know. I've never had them in the door. You know what I mean? It's a thing that even Tony O'Neill at Copey says to me. He goes like, "Why have you never been given a bib gourmand in Bark and Dog? Because your food is under a price and it is." Up, you know what I mean? And stuff
I
like
know
that.
it's fucking correct, right?
So it's stuff like that. It's sometimes it's politics, is it? I don't know. Maybe it's politics, and it's who you know and what you know. And
You haven't been sending out your fruit baskets to the right people.
or signing up to these magazines that cost $2,000 a year to subscribe
not
to. You know what I mean? You're like,
See, that's what, because I think there is definitely that, and then there's just reputation alone. Like if your fucking things worldwide renowned, you know, like them guys, was it the Dead Rabbit?
Yeah.
Out in New York, they're world renowned.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to buy shit for anything. Do you know what I mean? And they'll
that's
be
also because like Drinkology, who represent them, basically there's all subscriptions to this, subscriptions to that. So you're always being nominated. You're all like I remember.
So your name's out there, regardless whether you win or not. Like so.
The dog, when the whole time I was in the dog, there was never a mention of. There was never mention of awards or magazine subscriptions or paid advertising or anything like that there. It was never done, but it was consistently always in the top echelon of Belfast restaurants.
yeah, but when we got into the Mechanic Guide, the Mechanic Guide picked us as one of their top 10 in Northern Ireland. When they did it, Mechanic Guide's massive and big.
Yeah.
And we weren't signed up to it at that stage, but the guys were big fans of ours and they always have been. So from the very start they were in, and John and stuff like that, and they just put us in there. You know what I mean? But there is a bit of that behind the scenes and under the table where you have to subscribe to that and
Scratch a few
do
backs.
this here and make sure blah blah. And it's just. Maybe I haven't got a face for TV, you know what I mean? That's what I keep.
Well, this will be your trial run. We'll see how well this podcast
keep me out
does.
of the road, you know what I mean?
But it, like, case in point of the Bark and Dog operated in such a perfect way for so long. And then when Dog Track opened, which was the new concept of, obviously for anybody who doesn't know, it was the sushi track concept, but with British and European food.
Don't think fucking Belfast was ready
small
for that.
plates.
Like,
Yeah, they weren't
because
ready.
it was fucking great. The
Yeah,
food was
no,
great.
I think
Location
I
let it
messed
down.
up location. I should have just went into the cathedral quarter with it instead of trying to be all right.
I suppose, like,
Let's be cool and go around the gasworks. And I thought 30,000 people work in the gasworks. I'm going to have a good lunch service type thing. No, they just want to go to the centre of the mace and grab their
Such a
packet
party.
of crisp
It
and
was
their prawn
fucking-
cocktail sandwich. You know
It
what I
was
mean?
great. It was so because I took Fiona there the night that I proposed to her.
There you
So
go.
there you go. She was good and fed that day. She said, that's probably why she said aye.
A few liquors in her.
So yeah, but we often talk about it because we always we went to the Dog Track for fucking pre-gig food and all.
if we
And it was
an hour to
fucking
kill
great
or
because it wasn't like you were committing to one meal.
Yep.
It wasn't like you going, I have a burger, and if you didn't like it, well, you were out. And if
Yeah.
you fucking don't,
Well, that was the whole point of it. It was like, you have a bit of mini burger, you have a bit of this, you can have a bit of scampi, you can have a bit of a tuna tartare, whatever it might be, and you could spend 10 quid on a couple of plates, or you could spend 80 quid on a load of stuff. You know what I mean? And be like me. Like,
I think if
fucking
you had
great.
moved it, if you'd done it in the Cathedral Quarter and it had become as busy as it deserved to become, I don't know if we would have ever really. I don't know if we ever would have had the
Kicking in the
time
doors,
to
that's
take
a
off,
good question.
because that's what happened. Is that we were doing a gig and when we were driving home.
we
from
would
the
have had
gig-
our own table. What are you talking? We would have had a reserved
I
spot.
know.
It would have been next to the bogs.
But I was driving us home from this gig, and whatever happened with the gig, it was a corporate thing, so the fee was stayed the same, but the actual length of time we had to work was massively decreased.
Yeah.
And he goes to me, you realise how much money we just made tonight for doing
For
this?
15 minutes.
And I was like, and I came in the next day and gave you my notice.
Oh, aye.
And I was like, I can do that for 10, 12 hours a week, or I can work for you for 60.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you were like, fucking go.
Go.
Away you go.
Just let me with a crazy little cocktail menu, beetroot fucking
sorry, I'd written
beetroot
this-
martinis and all these here. We lads come behind and going, how do I make these again?
I know, I remember, because that was the thing. Cause on,
What the hell is creme de cassis?
fuck here, mate, that didn't even make it into my farm, mate.
You know, you were making fat frog and all, you liar. You were making a fat frog and calling it a fucking aubergine kumquat.
When we were doing the recce for the place, we went to like the Blind Pig and stuff. We went to really good cocktail bars, and I was reading the menu and going, actually, yeah, and just getting sort of inspiration for
Ideas,
things. And like I did a beetroot and chili sour,
It was
which
Actually, yes,
nobody
I
in
remember
fucking
that.
Belfast was doing, and like it was one of those things that like basically he did a beetroot, ghost cheese and walnut gnocchi dish.
Which we about this morning.
And, yeah, and then I take the puree that he'd used to make the potato gnocchi. I would use the puree in the cocktail, and I was all about like trying to pair these like little plates with like a cocktail. And I did a fucking the Jawbox one it did, which was it was a gimlet made with cardamom.
Cardamom.
Oh, yeah.
Cardamom
Nice.
sugar. Fuck.
I remember you
hell.
did
Shout out to
tell me
Jerry,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sorted, Jerry.
Jerry Jawbox. Jerry Jawbox.
Yeah, but it was a fucking magical place. I loved it. But yeah, no, I do actually feel bad because whenever I went in there, I was like, right, I was put to the forefront, you know, being a big part of the brand, and the cocktail menu was designed in that way. But I was working there 5 days a week when we were open, so it was all right. When we were getting chin for cocktails, mix on the bar, it's grand. But then whenever we started gigging and I disappeared, the same menu was sat there, and you had no offense to them, but you had these staff who why should they care?
You
about
should
this
have
menu?
been doing
And
fucking
they'd-
another 4 days a week cocktail training for them.
I know they were. They probably barmen coming from. I remember barmen coming for jobs who were like, "I'm a fucking mixologist." I stuck them behind that bar, and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But that's a term in Belfast. A lot of barmen.
But I think
use this.
I think that's a weird thing because I just got used to working and making the same cocktails over and over again that I could just fire them out no problem.
Yeah.
But like if you told me how to do something once or twice, I
Yeah.
know how to do it and I would just do it the same way every time. But I think a lot of people because of the barman work, the sort of the nature of it. You mightn't be at a place long enough to get good at stuff. You might be like, here, I'm here, and you go, it's not for me and fuck off. Whereas if you had stuck it out for another couple of months, you probably would have learned all sorts of shit that you would never have thought.
Yeah,
I will say though, that the thing I loved about that bar, like I've worked in bars for 20 years, and I used to hate working in bars that weren't designed by barmen. So when Dog Track was getting designed, he goes to me, "You go tell the architect what you want," and I designed what it basically would fuck. And I was, it was just. There was no movement involved. Everything was you could just operate in this
Well, that
on a
was the whole
swivel.
place, the whole even the front kitchen, because the kitchen was out
Right there,
out
yeah.
front and centre. So you were standing, you're sitting at your table drinking your lovely cocktails, watching the chefs cook your food for you and going, "Ooh," and the chefs were getting involved, and people were like, "What are you doing there?" And they were sort of
Chatting away and
giving out their wee chef tips. You know what I mean? This is what we do there, and this is what we do that for, and stuff like that. And
It was great.
See, I think the whole concept though was fantastic. Like I really do think it was brilliant. I just don't think because even though we're like the cultural revolution in terms of food, I think people are still so.
No, I
fucking
think
close-minded as
if
well.
I had to do it because they recorded, I probably would have put a.
Could have tripled your prices as well.
Yeah, you go as well. But like if I had it up in Dublin, Manchester, or something like that, it would have
You'd
been
fly,
probably a chain restaurant. I mean, and
uh,
a couple
the-
on about. But you live and let learn. You know what I mean?
It's still a learning curve. Like,
It
isn't it?
My disdain for influencers stems from the Dog Track.
Because they're all like, here, let us eat your food.
no,
I'll write a blog about
right,
you.
'cause
Yeah.
going back to the Barking Dog, right? Barking Dog never did anything. There was never anything.
The food
Whenever
did
I start,
itself, like.
when I started working there, how the whole like that social media guru thing you slagged me about, how that happens because basically when I started working for him, nobody knew in the restaurant how to take a fucking picture of anything. So I used to go,
He said to me all
He
the
shoots at
time.
me.
Yeah.
I send him pictures. He's like, "You mean taking another one of that?" And I go,
I know, because I'd be like,
fucking detail in the
because we'd be
background.
like having a sandwich in between gigs, and he'd be in the car looking at his phone. He'd be like, "Hey, who the fuck took them pictures?" He goes, "Would you post that?" No, I was like,
mustard.
"I wouldn't."
but I've
No
always said
filters, no fucking anything on
your
it.
social media should be a true representation of what you're about. It should look professional, and it should look like the customer should feel like they're at the table. That's what they should. You're trying to transport them to the table and entice them into coming into your restaurant. It's fucking basic. Anyway, so when I started working for him, So I was taking pictures because it was like 3 or 4 managers all had access to the Facebook, and every day the posts would all look different. Some day
you need standardisation.
You'd get 4 posts, and it was a different manager doing it every time. Now, I was just a barman at this stage, but then I started taking pictures, and then he basically told him, well, let McCallum fucking do it. So that's what happened. So I started doing our social media, and then it became nice and streamlined, and every photo was taken from the same angle. Even the grammar in the text, everything.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when we remember one of our things, like our YouTube channel was doing bollocks. It was just non-existent, and I was going through it, and I was like, "There's so much fucking shite all over the place here."
Yep.
So I literally spent like 2 days gutting it and then rewording everything and then doing covers for everything, and then it just looks so much nicer. It's still not doing well. Like,
no.
It's
it
like
looks far better.
people were taking pictures and they were putting the filters on. That dark filter doesn't do that.
The fish doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't have a suntan. Know what I mean?
It's not smoked. It's a piece of white fish. Like.
So this went off. So for years and years, I think 6-7 years I worked for you. And he would tell me, like, he would go to like award ceremonies and people would approach him and go, what company do you use to do your social media? He's like, my fucking barman. So whenever it came to dog track opening, we were like, right, we kind of need to do a different approach here. And so we were like, right, let's get all these influencers in. And every single fucking one of them was invited down, and they all got free dinners and everything, and not one cunt came back.
No.
And one of them, I was recently tagged in a fucking.
Oh, well, that
fit.
might, well,
I'm
well,
not going to mention who it was, but I was requiring a service, and one of them was tagged in my post because they could provide that service, and I went, not fucking happening. No. Not going near them because they're two-faced bastards.
Yep.
And that term influencer really made me start to fucking hate them, because these people thinking it's entitlement again, and I'm like, how can you call that an occupation? There's people who legit do that as a job, and I know they make a lot of money.
Look at that girl.
But I thought,
the girl yesterday in Dubai, she went up to business class, took a picture of herself in business class, and then just picture sitting on her comedy seat in the back.
You're going, so you're not really influencing much.
That travel influencer that was on this morning, I was going, you're influencing me to fucking.
But I wonder how that term really was. That something like the, let's say, inverted commas, industry coined, or was that something like somebody, like it just caught on over time?
Yeah,
because like it was real sudden, like that this whole thing was a thing, because there's always been people like vlogging and blogging and fucking whatever for years now, but then just all of a sudden, like within like 1 year, it was like influencer, but it's like, like Hitler was an influencer. He influenced a lot of people.
But it's that thing, like, where, like, say, let's take someone like The Rock, for example. Very famous actor. Beats by Dre go to him and go, here, we're going to pay you loads of money to wear our things. And you go, he wears them, people buy them. Great. Makes perfect sense to me. But this fucker, who I don't know, is saying, oh, use this moisturizer, I'm an influencer. Who the fuck are you?
Why do you think I need this moisturizer?
Yeah, you cheeky bastard.
I had it. About 2.5 years ago, we had a table come in, and she's a blogger, and her friend does this blogging thing, and I go, she books a table and stuff like that, blah, 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 and she goes, so is this all for free? And I went, excuse me?
The fuck?
I said, excuse me? I says, no, it's not for free. I says, I'll give you a cup of free tapas, because we do that when friends come in, you've been in.
Oh yeah, I know.
A couple of wee tapas or a scampi to share, stuff like that. And she's like, because no one know what she said to me before that there. She says, I said, so, that's the first, the barking dog. Yes, it's my first time. And I went, I've been open 10 years. You calling yourself a foodie? You calling yourself a foodie of Belfast, Northern Ireland? You're calling yourself a foodie, but you've never been the barking dog. It's been open 10 years. And I went, oh my God. And I just, at that point, I went, oh, I can't even be bothered, because she's no texting through the Instagram and all and asking. So we thought, all right, no bar, okay about that. I was like, seriously.
That's a real presumptuous thing. This is all for free. It's like,
because you have, maybe a couple of thousand people on your Instagram. Do you think you want to get free?
I think she had 216.
But a lot of people, and I know there's quite a big organisation that does that there, but none of them are from here. None of the people that subscribe, so they're all bought. They're all bought. Fucking, because they're big mobile. It's like I think in fucking like Asia, there's a big market for, they have rooms full of mobile phones all hooked up, and they just create like a new account for each one, and then they all sign up. So you literally pay. Actually, you see all these people with the blue ticks on Facebook. Yeah. You're like, who the fuck? How do you have 1 million viewers? Like, you do nothing. It's like some guy posting up inspirational memes, and it's like, but you have a blue tick and you have like 1 million followers, and it's like, you don't have 1 million followers. You paid for somebody, and then you're trying to blag your way into fucking getting that. But like, if you look like Dills takes photos,
Yeah.
you actually see his work.
Yeah.
You see what he does, and
He organically grew his audience.
yeah, do you know what I mean? So you wouldn't mind going to somebody like him because you know he comes in and he does the video and he'll write something, he'll do a fucking thing on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I there? Whereas you get people that are like, I can take a picture for Instagram and I expect lots for it, and
Yeah,
it's like
the only
that's
person
not the way it works.
with,
Fucking support people by paying them
Oh,
for their fucking services.
And the only person in the dog track, any of the influencers that ever fucking returned to become a regular customer was one that was never invited because I didn't know who the fuck she was. She just happened gluten-free fee.
Oh yes,
She
yes.
came
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah, my
by
brother
chance.
follows her.
Fiona's,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
a lovely
Fiona.
woman. And because she's a celiac and she's a really good person to follow if you are celiac.
I know Fanuna follows her.
But she came in on a random like a Wednesday evening. It wasn't like we were doing anything special. And she came in with her husband and a couple of friends, and they had a great time. And then she started to come back like once every couple of weeks.
Yeah, she loved it. She
And
was a
not
big fan
once
of
did
ours.
she ask for
See,
anything free.
that's the difference, because you would go in, you wouldn't announce that you're there. Because if you were going to do a genuine fucking reggae or blog
Yeah.
about someone, you don't want them to influence you by going, "Oh, I have all this free stuff." Do you know what I mean? You
Well,
want
it goes back to the days of London when all the critiques were coming in. You know what I mean? You didn't know who Fame Isla was at one stage, and then she got famous, and then there were AA Guild and all that there. And like I remember going to the office at Mirabelle and had the picture of them all.
So you
who
knew
they
who you were looking
were,
out for.
and then they had another board over there going, who are the Michelin stars? So the guys coming in, though, these are what they look like, because they don't book on their normal name, they book on their an alias name. And that's a proper critique, you know what I mean? You're coming in blind, you get the whole experience that the place is about, and then make your review and go,
Yeah.
this is a true reflection of what I had that night, not over pretentious service or no. I hate when some chefs go, "Oh, make sure that dish is lovely because it's such and such." No,
should make sure every dish is fucking
fucking
lovely.
dish should be fucking perfect because it's such and such. If it's the wee lad coming out on his first date, you know what I mean, spending a bit of money, or it's the family down the road that come in every week, or it's a special occasion, or you're in a pair of shorts, you just want a burger. Every plate should leave just the way the last one.
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Not because it is somebody or.
I remember you telling me once you went to somewhere up west. Can't remember where it was, but you were out with your brother or your mummy or something. I can't remember. And it took like nearly an hour for your food to come out because they knew you were there. They were like, "No, it has to be
Clean the
fucking
plate.
perfect."
Yeah.
Polish the
You're like,
cutlery.
Can I just get fed, please?
I'm hungry. Like I just want. It wasn't.
Give us
I
the
know we were
Himalayan
talking
rock
about
salt.
now. And it wasn't like I was out for anything. I think I was going out drinking, and I just wanted. It was me and Sean, and I just wanted to fill my belly for something before I was drinking, and I was like going, "Oh, okay, I was going. Can we go yet?"
But here's the thing as well, like you would choose, like, because we're from up there, so we
Yeah.
know. But you're going to walk into a restaurant already knowing what you're expecting, so you shouldn't. Because no, it does. It doesn't imply that they've put more effort into yours.
Yeah.
It's implying that they're putting less
Effort
effort
into
into
yours.
everything else.
Exactly.
You know what I
No,
mean?
and
So-
it shouldn't be like that. It's
just be-
every plate leaving the kitchen should be perfect because it doesn't matter who it is. It could be anybody. It should be always a sex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know you.
Empathy, that's what it is. No, have empathy of what you would want to be served. And I keep saying that to some of the kids because the kitchen goes, would you send that out? Would you want that sent to your table? And they'll go, no, and don't be sending it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Is that ball of ice cream is melting half on the plate? No, don't be sending something like that.
Like,
No.
what would you think
Yeah.
if that was sent to you? Would you go,
Big
fuck,
time.
I'm not coming back here? You know what I mean? Or would you be like, I'm happy
Yeah,
with
you
that?
know what I mean? Yeah, me and Kara have a sort of two goal rule. If we go once and it's bad, we go twice as bad, but not go back.
Aye, well, I'd say I would be the same, because sometimes you just get...
Sometimes you get a bad night, and know maybe blah blah blah. And it's like why I don't do splits in my place, or we do 4 doubles and 3 days off, because I remember doing splits years ago. You go to the fucking pub and have skull 3 or 4 pints, go back into the kitchen, and your hangover kicks in about 7:30 o'clock, and you start faking with front of the house, and it's just a bad vibe, and you end up. A couple of times in London going, what am I doing? So I was like, no more going to.
I would never have thought of that. No,
Yeah,
I would never have
that's what
thought
it is.
that would
It's-
have a real...
and even the barmen as well, when they're in there doing a bit of lunch service, then they go to the pub in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden and hangover kicks in. It goes, because especially if it's a football game on, you sit there, and you're just debouking for service time at some of the restaurants. But it's just not. It's a bad habit. So when I took over Barking, it was like, right, we're going to do 4 longs and 3 offs. You know what I mean? So, and it's good that way as well. You can sort of always sort of hopefully guaranteed a Friday, Saturday night off sometimes, because people go to me and see me and say, "Oh, you're not working tonight?" And I go, "I don't fucking work 7 days a week, man." You know what I mean? You physically can't work 7 days a week. 'Cause you work 7 days a week, you end up
20 years ago, we all could.
Aye, 20 years ago when you were a Bobby, when you used to go party all night and go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean?
That's because you used to have the oil inspiration powder knocking about. You know?
Stick for yourself, man.
Gives a wee line of inspiration there, would you?
Never lack
half a dozen beers now, and I'm waking up with a fuzzy head next morning going to work. Going, oh,
fuck. I eat chew a packet of wine gums, my whole falling out of me. Fucking, no, what's the percentage on those gum trees there?
So, should we talk about the burger? I feel like we should address the elephant in the room.
the burger.
Actually, here, funny. Do you know what the funny is? I like trying to like. I don't have any formal training in food. I never worked close enough with the chefs to actually learn anything.
Yep.
But I always sort of go, you know what you like, and you go, oh, I wouldn't mind trying, like I remember the first time I tried red wine in a stew that I was making. I was like, fuck, that's a good. And then I tried like 1 week I'll try Shiraz, and the next week I'll try like just to see what the different flavors are. But see, ever since I had the burger, the Bargain Dog, because I make my own burgers in the house, because I didn't realize at the time how fucking easy it is to make a nice homemade burger. Chopping a bit of bread to bind it and all that sort of thing. I just going, do I put the red sauce in? Because I've got the kids, and I'm like, this could make or break the food for them. But I'm like, should I put a wee squirt of red sauce in? Because you never think about doing that when you're making it up.
No.
But I knew, because remember you were saying about people complaining, that's not cooked in the middle. And you're like, no, that's the ingredients.
It's been cooking for 3 days,
That's
motherfucker.
the ingredients have given it a red hue.
It's a die off the ketchup and obviously the mustard, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Because we had a problem one time where we were cooking it when we first started off with the environmental health officers.
Aye.
And some people are asking, I prefer to be cooked medium, but because we're in Belfast, we can't do that.
Yeah, you have
unless you have your minced in-house and all this separate butchery department and all that there. We don't have the room for that there. So it came to the point where some fella was asked by, I think it was maybe Nick again, and he was like, "What do you mean I have to eat my burger's going to come out medium? It has to be well done and overcooked." No, it doesn't have to be well done and overcooked. It's
not the way beef works.
No,
it's not the way
it's going to be
works.
dry, and obviously the more you cook it as well, the beef shell inside, you know what I mean, it evaporates. So medium was always the thing, and then we end up going through loads of fucking testing with the HO, and they wanted to send it off to Oxford University. And I was like, it's going to cost me $4.5 to do this. And
He got cautioned.
No, that was the
stick
stick
to
car. And I was going like, come on, you know what he is doing? They're going, so they wanted to send off the raw mince, and they wanted to send off all the ingredients separate. I was going, it's a fucking Hemmings ketchup, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm using a secret tomato ketchup. Or
Daddy's
so
bottle in the back there.
I just gave in them. I went, no what? I'll just cook it medium well over the 72 degrees. Stop, because it was a 5-6 month process of her in every week, busting my balls. I was going, man, come on, you know what I mean?
No, it's
A whole lot of hassle, like for very little common sense to be used. You know what I mean? It's like,
but again, that's going back to what you said earlier about people, all these new restaurants, and it's like an education. Like it's this, like I hate to use generation as a term, but like growing up, like I just remember shit being fucking burnt. Well, not burnt, but always well cooked. And it wasn't until I started in hospitality and a chef said to me one day, "How do you like your steak?" And I was like, "Oh, well done." And he went, "Is that right? Come back in 20 minutes." I came back and he cooked a steak, and he took all the juices out of the pan, and and it was about that much juice. And he went, "That's how much flavour you lose in a well done steak." And I was like,
Well,
I say just put
really?
your
Funny enough, well done, mate. That's how I become a chef. I live with my dad. My dad used to go to football on a Saturday, and he used to buy these steaks for us on a Saturday night and come home and cook them, with a point where I was nearly having a sore jaw trying to eat the fucking thing.
Actually, funny. It was always rump steak. My mum was cooking.
No, my dad would splash out and over to Tommy's in the Shores Road and buy a nice fucking sort of sirloin or an out T-bone every so often, but come home and it was like, it was rock hard. No, you're chewing it, you're trying to dip it in red sauce or brown sauce to try a bit of mush in it.
Fuck, I remember having red sauce with your steak, actually.
And it was
simpler times.
And then we moved into the flat on the Shores Road, and I was about 15, 16, and adult sort of, my aunt sort of cooked for me and stuff like that, and my dad was like, "Do you do fucking better, do it yourself," attitude. I came back one day and want the White Rock tack to go back and do my GCSEs, and Mum went, "You seriously, son, you should have applied for that about 4 months ago." I'm like, "Only did exams last week, missus." So came back, told my dad was going to be chef. My dad went and just laughed at me. Well, there you go.
Well, that's a similar reaction I got from my mum when I said I wanted to do music. Get a real job. Why can you actually? Funny is honest is God's honest truth. I did want to become a chef when I was younger because my granny and granda were phenomenal cooks, fucking fantastic. And like I lived with them for a couple of months, and the weight I put on, not like being fat, but like just being well fed. They would fucking do like pork, like fillets of pork and all that shit. But really fucking fantastic food because they worked on like was it the tall ships?
That's my granda Maxie. My granny was a good cook, and apparently I get my cooking from his mummy, which is my wee granny. Apparently she was a fantastic cook. And she had, my mum was actually telling me a story a couple of weeks ago. She had this wee setup out the back where she actually had a pizza oven built, and then she had another wee cook in her, which used to cook out because obviously he's feeding fucking 6-7 kids, maybe more actually. There's loads of them, so she was feeding loads of them, and that's where I apparently get my cooking from. Is my wee granny. Because my granda worked in the docks, and he used to come home with fish and give them my granny, and my granny's going, "What is that?" And it's like fish and salmon, and my granny's going, "Oh, it's not a bit of cod, you batter."
I'm going to debone it and throw it in the frying pan. That'll be us. But that's it. I wanted to be a chef, and both my mummy and my granny were like, "Don't do it." She's like, "Why?" She's because you'll never see anybody.
It is thankful hours, and we need to get better. And I think the 4-day week with the guys now, where they have 3 full days off. Because you say to people, "Well, how long are you going to be in there tonight?" And they'll taxi me or something, and you go, "I'll be in there about 11 o'clock." And that's a long day. I mean, but that's what it was. Instead of doing 5 splits, where you get like a 2-hour break, a 3-hour break, you do 4.
Can't do anything in 2 or 3
4.
hours.
Because that's what you're doing. You were going to the pub and having a few beers, and then you were going back, or you were going.
There's no point in going home to come back.
Oh,
again,
you were
know,
paying money to go in a taxi, and it just wasn't. So you pattered about 3 hours. You went to the pub, but you had no stuff like that. But the 4-day week is definitely. Well, boys should have a bit of a life. You know what I mean? And we're closing Monday, Tuesdays. And we did it last year at the park, and just because. It just gives a bit. Monday, Tuesday, we're off. And as I say, so if you're short-staffed, you ask the boys to do an extra shift, they go, "All right, I'm going to do 5 long days here, but I have 2 days off." Because that dreaded phone call when you wake up the morning time, you see your head chef missed call, and you're going,
"What am I going to make up here?"
I just did 3 or 4 doubles here, and he's going to ask me to come in and do a shift today, and you're going, "Hiya," and you're like,
I'm just in IKEA. I don't know when I'll be getting out. Oh, funny, it's IKEA I want you to go to. Can you fucking grab us a load of cutlery, would you?
So almost getting a prison sentence over steak tartare is one of my greatest memories.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, that'd be funny. What are you in for?
No,
grinding meat with eggs and salt.
Yeah.
Fucking okay.
Over the dual usage of a fact pack machine, and the wee chef Christian got me scooped. We were sort of doing behind the back that without them knowing. It's just fact packing the meat so it didn't oxidize. So we and I rolled it just like a wee sausage on a bit of cling film, and she came in fucking. We were told, get rid of that. Don't never got rid of it. Just came in. She started reading me my rates out in the bar, and Nick, the manager, was like, "Excuse me, are you resting chef?" She goes, "No, I'm just to question him on this here." And she gave me a sheet, and all I was going, "Oh my God, woman, you."
It's insane. Like,
but again, West Belfast street rep could take a fucking hit.
That's so straight. I know you're getting pulling the balaclava. Just a bag of spuds over your shoulder instead of a rifle. Fuck's sake, that is insane. That would come in. Like.
See the documentation. She just handed me and all. So she was, and I was going, "That's not my steak tartare. I don't put a raw egg shell on top of it. That's somewhere in London."
You've just grabbed, Googled.
You just Googled imaged and you handed me this, and there was no information about it.
The thing is, no chef that owns a restaurant or has made a business or has been in the thing along wants to poison their customers.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, yes, I purposely have fucking. I try to dip my finger into every one before it goes out. You know what I mean?
That's
the way you serve a steak tartare is the way I ideally would eat one.
Yeah,
it's all cured, isn't it? Like it's all fucking everything's dead in it. Like,
well, no, it's not. It's the when you go to France and get a steak tartare, they literally comes out in a fucking board. They give you a mound of mince,
and it's put through like a wee hand mincer, so they'll get the meat, but like a bit of fillet or something like that. Put it through, so it actually looks like mince meat coming out, and they give everything separate. So they give the shallots and the mustard and the Tabasco and all that, which is all separate. The capers and gherkins, you make it yourself. Where my recipe comes from Gordon Ramsay. That's where I got my recipe from.
There you go.
And it's the chopped up meat that gives it a nice texture. And it's not like it's minced beef.
But also that it's balanced. The flavors balanced because people say to me all the time, and they go, "Yeah, you eat raw meat." And I'm like, I've been doing it for years, and it's never made me sick once. So see, whatever your fucking prejudice is, that's on you. It's never killed me.
For me, it's just a texture. I couldn't get over the texture.
The French have been eating steak tartare for years, the Italians have been eating beef carpaccio for years.
But as I keep saying to people, it's like, I can't eat raw red meat. As a human being, I do not have the biological facility to do it. The beauty of a steak tartare is the acids and the things like the shallots and then the Tabasco sauce and
Capers
the
and
mustard,
the
and
gherkins.
capers,
Is
and all
lemon
that
in it
stuff.
as well, is there?
Huh?
Is there lemon?
No,
juice?
no.
no.
But it's like all the acid breaks down the enzymes in the red meat that then makes it edible. And then they go, oh, but I still wouldn't eat it. I'm like, I'm not asking.
It's not
you
a
to eat
raw
it.
chicken breast.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean it, but the reason I like it the way it's done, like in the dog, for example, or like I've eaten it like in Sketch in London or other places, is because it's like the chef has decided that is the balance, the right level of heat and everything that should go into it. Whereas if it's served like that traditionally, I don't think I would enjoy it as much.
I didn't.
Because the thing is, now I know how to make a steak tartare. It's
Yeah.
the only dish in the dog I know how to make. Because he used to just let me go and make it. But I would try. I just prefer it done that way. I think because it's like you know, when you go to these restaurants, where it's like, here's your raw steak, cook it yourself. I'm like,
No.
What the
was
fuck
the
am I
big thing in
paying
New
for?
Zealand when I was there.
I hate that.
I used to get fucking blitz when I was in New Zealand. I just sit at a bar by myself, just have about fucking 8 pints, and I'd be like, aye, and you'd hear the steak come, you'd hear the fucking rock as they came out.
I don't like it.
I don't know. I'm the same as him. I don't understand it. It came from Dylan McGrath down in Dublin. I can't remember the name of the restaurant now. And then it come up, and then the guys at what I call the bar around beside Dossie worked in.
Garrett McHugh's.
Did it, and then obviously Sticks and Stones did it. I just don't understand. Like we're taught in chef college to cook our steak and let it rest.
Yeah. But
So-
you're not doing that out there. Like.
You're not doing that with that. You're cooking it and slicing it
The
afterwards.
guy
I
that
just-
cost, there's nowhere to rest.
There's nowhere to-
I sure
We
enough.
bit of tinfoil on the side
I was
of
gonna
the
say,
bar
yeah.
table.
I just don't understand.
Spill your
it.
pint over it.
I
now.
love. There's a really. I love that story about Dylan McGrath. Dylan McGrath is cracking chef, right? And this place he has in Dublin, Phase 3 Social, is it's just a monster of a place.
Yeah.
I absolutely love eating in it. But he used to work for Michael Dean, didn't he?
Is that I think that's
I
him,
make,
isn't
and
it?
like
Oh,
Michael Dean said, I think he threw him out of his kitchen. He was like, "You'll fucking never equate to anything." And then Dylan McGrath got a Michelin star and sent a selfie to Michael Dean. And went, "Fuck you."
You should never say that to anybody because it'll always fucking come back in you. So you'll never amount to anything. Well, serial killers are famous, like, so you'll be around. Send a wee picture from death row. Fuck you. Yeah. Nobody's heard of you. You can't, but they know me.
So I could be wrong about that. So Michael, if you're watching, whatever.
What are you doing watching podcasts? You'd be in the fucking kitchen. Keep
Lazy
cleaning.
fucking bastard. Comb that fucking hair. Would you? Anyway, it's alright. He knows us. Sure, he said hello to us once, and we were.
I was speaking to him yesterday. I was walking into the bank yesterday. He was getting in the car. He's like, "What about you, Mickey?" Oh, I'm all good.
He hasn't been back in the dog since that day. We'd no tables left. Do you remember that day?
Poor Susanna.
And his missus
yeah.
went, "Do you not know who we are? Do you want to know who you are? But we've no fucking
I-
tables."
Oh, sorry. Now that I found out there's a table just to materialise right beside me.
I said that to somebody once. There was somebody who was being a real fucking cunt about we were fully booked, and I went, "Do you know what it is, sir? Bring a table and chairs from the house, and if you can find space in the restaurant, you can sit down yourself." He went, "What do you mean?" I said, "I have no fucking tables.
What do
We're
you want?
fully booked, you stupid. What do you think that? Do you think I'm just saying that to make it sound like we're busy? We're fully booked, you stupid."
It's
bastard.
not like I looked you up and down and went, "Fuck here."
You can tell I don't miss the train, but
No, big thing.
I remember. It's a true story. I remember whenever he made me a supervisor in the Bark and Dog, and I goes, "Why the fuck are you making me?" Because like I've always had this kind of disdain for people. And he goes,
Great industry to be in. Is the
but I
service
says to
industry.
him, "Why are you making me a supervisor in your amazing restaurant?" He went, "Because I know if somebody fucking complains about the food, you'll call bullshit." I would.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't be in front of the house. Like, I
Get
did.
dragged away
See,
from
there's
the
that
table.
weird-
I end up ending up something throwing them out of restaurant, so what? Know what I mean?
See, I always run that weird tightrope where you just want to go and fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But you're going to tell, well, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
That'll come back to bite.
Yeah.
The restaurant in the launch still fucking
Yeah,
leave a Yelp
yeah,
review
yeah.
or something
I mean,
out there.
like
So
that.
I always hold my tongue. It'll be like if somebody got into my face, it'd be like, right.
You'd be a lot better than me about that. But there's like, see that whole thing, a customer's always right. Not always. If there's like a genuine problem, right? So give examples. If there's a genuine problem, you go, right, okay, that's fine. I'm really sorry about that. You take it back to the kitchen, chef, they're complaining about this, and he'll go, "Yep, that's cold or that needs something. Let's get a fresh one on." You bring it back, you apologise. Glass of wine or something, you do that.
Come on, smooth it over.
If there's a genuine problem, I will move mountains for you.
Yeah.
My food's too salty. No, it isn't. I watched you fucking pour a load of salt on it before you taste it. So you're a liar.
We do,
Always
we
taste your
do-
food first.
We do salt and pepper scampi.
Uh,
So fella came in and he got the salt and pepper mill, and then goes, "That's really salty."
Now you can see the salt and
Now,
pepper
the
on
salt,
the
you can
scampi.
see the peppercorn and these wee bits of peppercorn in the scampi, so you know it's going to be nice peppery bit, and it's salt in the flour, and he's with the salt and pepper, and then sends it back, and I'm going, Stop it, mate. Stop it. You know what I mean?
But then there was the most famous one about, because I fucking have so many. I'm gonna write a book one day. The most
memoirs.
Next memoir, that's a good one, actually.
The most famous one was there was a burger complaint, right? Now, for anybody not watching and doesn't know what the beef shin burger at the Bark of Dog is, sort your fucking life.
It's great. It is
unreal.
actually fucking
3 days to
tasty.
make, outstanding, right? But there was a table of 8 who ordered 8 burgers, right? And when I had done checkbacks and everything, and when I was clearing them, the usual, hey guys, did you enjoy that? Some guys like, oh man, it's so moist, and it was so good, and I love this and love this. And there was just one girl, and she went, I didn't like it. And I went, what about it? Was it you didn't like? Was it do you know, like the flavour horseradish or whatever? And she's like, nah, I prefer like a Big Mac. Well, I went fucking mental. I went, excuse me? It's like, you're 7 friends. You all had the same thing. Your food was all prepared at the same time. They're giving a glowing reference, and you'd prefer a Big Mac. And Thomas, the general manager, fucking dragging me to the table. But I'm like, no. She's the fucking issue here.
And that's how he met his wife.
But then, happily married.
17 years, would you believe it?
See the day I went in and actually handed my notice in to him, I bet he went, thank fuck.
He's a liability.
I've been trying to get rid of him for years.
There was a wee lad I worked with in Belfast, and it was because we were all told, because there was loads of us had never worked in restaurants. There was about 5 or 6 of us had never done it. Yeah. There was like Nick was there. That's how I know Nick, because Nick worked with me, and so there's a couple of managers and they're all doing the training. So the whole thing was bring the food out, leave them 10 minutes, go over it. Is everything okay? Any problems? You have your chance to leave it. You do something at the end. So the wee lad took that quite literally. So he went over halfway through and says, anything I can do for you? Is everything okay? And they were like, that's fine. And at the end, the guy was like, listen, I didn't want to say at the time, but there was such and such a thing. And he went, well, I'll give you your chance. And you didn't say anything, so see you later. I just walked away.
It's true, though, because the guys that put food on the table, give them a wee bag, and the section waiter go checking them. And they're saying in between that, a manager may pass and go, everything okay? Grand. Get desserts. Blah blah blah, pay the bill, and they go, yeah, by the way, the steak wasn't really warm enough for me. Or it was, it was a bit underdone for you. Send it back to the kitchen and get them to cook it for you.
It's easier to cook it. What's the pop it in the microwave?
Don't go, oh, what's up? It's just people wanting something for free. Like we had a manager before you came into us years and years ago, when I first started, and she was muster for giving people stuff for free. And I go, stop it. People are just fucking surely complaining they get stuff for free because they know.
Yeah.
Tell her that such was nice. She's going to give you desserts free or around the drinks free.
What, ice cream is too cold. Here's some coffee.
Yeah.
Ice cream's too cold. It's like, well, fucking
My fish pie's too fishy. I'd like to fix them.
Yeah.
It's underfished.
Or ribeye is ribeye. That's why I don't.
Ribeye's too fatty.
Ribeye. I love ribeye. Ribeye's my favourite bit of meat, and I can't put it in the restaurant no more because I'm sick to death of people going, that ribeye's a bit fatty. It's meant to be fatty. A balloon bag, you know what I mean? Or pork belly. Pork belly's a bit fatty. It's fucking pork belly.
Pork belly,
It's pork belly.
God is in the details.
That's what Frona was like, because she can't have pork belly. She's just like, I don't like the texture of the fat. And I say,
That's okay.
but I love the texture of the fat with the meat.
Yeah, but
I can't have it flat. I see when it's rolled, when it's in wee bites, perfect. See when it's like flat, where it's all meat
with
in one.
the big layers
it's
of it,
just, I end up just, there's too much. Whereas when it's rolled, it's a lot more, the balance is a lot nicer on it.
So funny, the pork belly bites at the dog. Like, my brother, Crick, is the fussiest, plainest eater in the world. And, like, he doesn't like fat on anything. Like, to the point of, like, see if you take, like a packet of ham, he'll take a slice out and he pulls it apart.
Sometimes I would do that, to be fair. There's a big whack, when they reform it, there's just a big jelly fat the way through it.
But I swear he has wet dreams about the pork belly bites at the dog.
And the short rib. The short rib's got a fat muscle running through it, you know what I mean? The bottom
it's
of it.
fucking
and
great.
he goes, him and the missus come in, and that's what they order. At least 2 short rib and these 2 bellies on their 10 tapas they have.
Our favourite's the short ribs and the halloumi. The wee fucking Frona goes nuts for that.
But it's funny because Crick knows. This is like, Crick's not listening like he's unaware. He knows what this is made up of. Because the first time he had it, I didn't tell him what he was eating. And he was like, that's the best thing I've ever eaten. And I told him, and he was like, that's mental.
Again, that's because the meat and the fat ratio are like spot on.
So
and then it's crispy on the top, and the meat's still, it's got
like
chew
like
to
a wee
it, but
Torino almost.
it's fucking great. But as I say, I've had pork belly where it's literally, there's your slab of pork belly, and it's like sometimes when the top's not crispy enough, and the fat, you're just getting all that
Well,
mushy
that's
fat.
just the restaurant using bad quality of pork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they go out and get the cheapest bit of pork. It's got a big layer of fat on it.
Yeah.
And only a wee bit of meat on it. Where you buy a nice middle back pork or whatever, and you know you're going to get a nice ratio the whole way through it.
That's saying I can't. Pork belly's a weird one with me. Like it's just I've had it, and it's. I always hate when you like if you have it in your place and it's great, and you go to another place. And you're like, oh, fuck, I'll chance me. I'll not have chicken or steak. And he come out and it's just like.
It's like the old saying, especially in the older generation when they come in and they go, oh, I had monkfish before, and I've had it in some shitty restaurant years ago. I wouldn't eat that monkfish. I've had it before. It's disgusting. You go, no, you've had a monkfish cooked with a different dish. Like monkfish doesn't get cooked with everything the same way. You know what I mean? It's cooked different, and
it's just potatoes and broccoli they've had it with and gravy.
But it's been cooked somewhere, and they don't understand. It's been there'll be a bit of monkfish now with a bit of gratin or something like that. It's different.
Curry, man, mate. I love when you do that curry monkfish. It's fucking great.
Curry monkfish, yeah, it's nice.
I'm weird with fish. Like I would eat a bit of smoked fish more readily than any other fish. I mean, it really doesn't matter what it is.
My grandfather Jimmy, every Friday, being proper Catholic, every Friday he had kippers and poached egg for his breakfast, and the house stunk of kippers. And then he would always have some sort of fish for dinner. So it was a fish and chips out of the Shores Road Kelstar, which is the best fish and chips about.
It's not even there anymore. It's not even there. It moved down to Anytown.
When I Pete was there, Pete was brilliant, so he was.
That was great. I used to live right across from there.
Queues outside the door, Friday and Saturday night queues, or he would bit of cooked fish, you know what I mean? But you want, did you have any meat for your lunch today at school? No, Grandad didn't. Only had a sausage roll.
Sausage roll, pap. I don't really know if it's real meat in the sausage roll.
He used to have kippers, and I swear, see my friends called for me on a Friday or Saturday to go and play. I'd be like, I'll be in a minute. Don't come near my door because the house stunk of kippers. It smelt rotten.
That's it. My granddad would always be like a big fish eater and stuff like that. I always remember he got the first time he got like it must have been like a salmon or something he got, and I remember he was like, "Sure, you take the eyes out there." And I had I was only maybe about 7. I remember having him like cutting the fish and all and cutting it all up for me. You know, it's like I got maybe why because the eyes are looking at you. You know, like, we always see them in Sainsbury's. They have them in and as they do full salmons in a fucking bag, and I'm always like,
I have a really funny story. I will end on this.
will we now? We'll just fucking end on this.
My mother has a real problem with. She's not alone. There's a lot of people who are like this, is knowing that their food comes from animals, that their food used to be something.
They're detached from it.
So my mum loves eating a bit of fish. In fact, last night she had sea bass. At the restaurant.
Can't watch Finding Nemo though.
But, she can't watch Jurassic Park. That's her a different reason. But anyway, so if when we were kids, like. If there was ever like my dad loved to put on like David Attenborough and stuff like out there and watch wildlife documentaries, and I love them too. But if a fucking fish or anything, a whole fish would come on the TV, she'd be like fucking terrified because of the eyes. She's like, and it's because the eyes never leave you; they're always looking at you, right?
Fuck, what's you like with a bit of monkfish? Because that's the most ugliest fish about, so it is. You ever see a head of a monkfish? No. One ugly little fucking bastard. Big eyes.
That's why you're killing them all. Just kill them all to fuck.
One time, she was just shopping in, I think it's Tesco or Asda or something with my dad, and we was talking about what to have for the dinner, and he was like, "Sure, get a bit of cod or something. We'll cook some cod tonight." And so she goes to the fucking fish fridge and she lifts the cod out and didn't realise it was a fucking whole cod. I fucking screamed. And like when I eat, my ma's not a quiet woman, and the whole I think it must have been Asda on the Shore Road. They must have thought somebody was getting fucking murdered because she was like, she fucking threw it up in the air. Poor fish hit the ground.
That's one of the things we always used to do as kids. Used to go to the ice box where they were down there, and you just look at all because there'd be the kippers, there would be whole, and you would get loads of like all fucking mad, all the cuts and all, and you just sit and stare at the fish.
I was
like breathing on them and all.
I was in Newcastle the other day, County Down, of course, and I was toying with the idea. I was like, fuck, I really feel like going down to Kilkeel.
Yeah.
Just going to the market, but I was like, it was about 12:30 in the afternoon. I thought,
yeah, you're probably late.
Boys be wrapped up. I just even love the smell, all the willocks and the sea.
You're just standing at St George's Markets, fucking high as a kite, on a morning. Just, smell that trout. Smell that trout of that one.
I'm a fiend when it comes to a wee bit of fucking razor clam.
I'm more into petrol. Like, I think I smell of petrol, but I don't hang around fucking petrol BP garage fucking.
I think everybody's got a wee thing for smelling petrol. My dad drove trucks on my granddad and stuff like that. So over the years, always in the truck to smell petrol. I don't know, maybe it's a
So those red diesel aftershave. That's that where I came from.
Country back roads.
There's still a fucking petrol station around my way doing red diesel, but we'll not talk about that.
Right,
I will wrap it up there.
We're here at the hour mark anyway. So thanks very much for coming in.
Pleasure, lads. Absolute pleasure.
If you have not been in, if this goes out and the world hasn't ended and we're not in the 34th lockdown, fucking get into the Bark and Dog, try the burger, try the specials, try fucking everything. Fucking get in there.
Try the staff too.
What do you mean try the staff?
We do not condone eating staff.
No, I meant the staff that they sweep up with.
All right, that staff. Yeah, try ask.
Sorry, the staffy. It's a Bark and Dog.
Fuck me.
Sorry,
And
I'm
that's
hungover
it.
today
We're-
because I was in his restaurant last night.
But yeah, check it out. Fucking thanks very much for coming
Thanks
in.
for having us, boys. Thank you.
Filling us with all your lovely stories.
Good.
And
Up the fucking foodies.
We'll see you up with foodies. We'll see you at some stage.
Take it easy.
All new episodes of the String Ninjas podcast every Monday on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Or subscribe to us to get early access to both the audio and the video versions of the podcast at patreon.com/String Ninjas.
The String Ninjas Podcast.